Of all the world's continents, Australia may be the smallest, but it's also the one to be entirely controlled by just a single country, Australia. It is a huge place in terms of land. It's also a pretty small place in terms of population, but very few people really understand the scale of how sparsely populated the Australian continent actually is. So what is the reason behind almost 95% of this massive chunk of land being deserted? Is it because of the extreme climate variations, or are there any other reasons to know about? 48 US states have a population of more than 300 million people, while Australia only has a population of little more than 26 million. This means that there are 2 American states that have more people than the entirety of the Australian continent. Australia really only has 5 actual major cities across the continent: Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, Perth and Adelaide, which collectively account for the residents of nearly 2 out of every 3 Australians. Australia is therefore among the most heavily urbanised nations in the world, with the overwhelming majority of the population, around 90%, concentrated into relatively small urban areas that only account for 0.22% of Australia's land area. Overall, around 85% of all Australians live within just 50 kilometres of the coastline, meaning there's hardly anyone deeper into the continent's vast interior. It's like the whole country is having a beach party, and the outback didn't get the invite. There are several reasons why most of Australia is empty. One of the main reasons is the country's harsh and varied climate. The continent's interior is known for its hot and arid conditions, with temperatures often reaching over 40 degrees. I mean, who needs a sauna when you can just step outside in the outback? It's nature's way of saying, hot enough for you? This makes it difficult to sustain human settlements in large interior areas. Additionally, the rugged terrain, lack of water and the presence of wildlife also made it difficult for early settlers in many parts of the country, not to mention the giant spiders, snakes and crocodiles that can eat you alive. A prominent reason most of Australia is empty is the country's rugged terrain. The continent's interior is characterised by mountains, deserts and scrublands, making it difficult for settlers to establish themselves in these areas. Additionally, the country's interior is also prone to bushfires, making it difficult to establish settlements in these areas. Some people might say that Australia is a land of contrast, but I think it's more like a land of disasters. The country has a big problem with a shortage of rainfall as well. More than 2/3 of the country receive less than 500 millimeters of rain annually. This has made the specific area of Australia inhabitable. This region in Australia is generally known as the outback. The presence of dangerous wildlife is another reason why most of Australia is empty. The country's interior is home to a wide variety of dangerous animals such as crocodiles, snakes and spiders, making it difficult for settlers to establish themselves. Additionally, the country's interior is also home to a wide variety of insects, making it difficult for settlers to establish themselves in these areas. The indigenous people's traditional lifestyles is also a factor in the low population density of Australia's indigenous Australians, who have traditionally lived in small nomadic groups rather than large permanent settlements. This has contributed to the low population density in many parts of the country. Additionally, Indigenous Australians have a deep spiritual connection to the land, and many continue to live in remote areas of the country. The lack of infrastructure in many rural areas of Australia make it difficult for people to establish themselves in these areas. The rugged terrain and lack of roads, railways and other forms of transportation make it difficult for people to access necessities such as food, water and medical care. Australia's like that one's friend who throws a massive party, but you realise the whole party is happening in 2 rooms, leaving the rest of the house feeling kind of empty. So the economy is all about agriculture and mining. Turns out if you want people, you've got to have jobs and space, so everyone's squeezing into the coastal areas, leaving the rural spots looking lonelier. Rural areas are basically the introverts of Australia, sparsely populated and silently wondering, where did everyone go? And in addition, the Australian government's land policy has played a role in the population density. The government's land policy was essentially the original farm to table program. They figured, you want your land, grow your stuff. So people flocked to the coastal regions like they were auditioning for the next big farming reality show. Turns out fertile soil and mild climate are like the VIP pass to the agricultural party. Who knew cultivating the land would become the hottest trend in coastal living? Overall, a combo of physical and historical factors have led to most of Australia being sparsely populated. Despite this, the country's unique landscape and diversity continue to attract visitors. In conclusion, the combination of physical and historical factors, such as harsh and varied climate, rugged terrain, lack of water, presence of dangerous wildlife, indigenous people's traditional lifestyle, and an economy based on agriculture and mining, and the government's land policy has contributed to the majority of Australia being sparsely populated. However, this also makes Australia a unique and exciting place to visit and explore, with a rich biodiversity and a diverse landscape worth exploring. Have you ever wondered what it would be like to navigate the vastness of Australia's interior, or uncover the secrets hidden in the outback? Share your thoughts and imaginings in the comments below. If you want to learn more about the fascinating facts and stories from the different parts of the world, subscribe to our channel, press the subscribe button, and don't forget to enable the notification bell so you're always the first to know about our content. Thanks for watching, and of course, we'll see you next time.